What is occultism? Occultism is a general term to describe various theories and practices involving a belief in and knowledge or use of supernatural forces or beings. Hence, in its broadest sense, occultism is a category of supernatural beliefs and practices which generally fall outside the scope of religion and science, encompassing such phenomena involving otherworldly agency as mysticism, spirituality, and magic. It can also refer to supernatural ideas like extrasensory perception and parapsychology. It must be noted that there is no single form of occultism. Sometimes, a person derives beliefs from occult practices. At other times, one selects occult practices because of external beliefs to which occultism molds itself. Occult practices center on the presumed ability of the practitioner to manipulate natural laws for his own or his client's benefit. Please note that such practices tend to be regarded as evil only when they also involve the breaking of moral laws. In fact, some anthropologists have argued that it is not possible to make a clear-cut distinction between magic, a principal component of occultism, and religion, and this may well be true of the religious systems of some non-literate societies. The argument does not hold, however, for any of the major religions, which regard both natural and moral law as immutable. The Western tradition of occultism, as popularly conceived, is of an ancient secret philosophy underlying all occult practices. This secret philosophy derives ultimately from Hellenistic magic and alchemy on the one hand and from Jewish mysticism on the other. The principal Hellenistic source is the Corpus Hermeticum, the texts associated with Hermes Trismegistos, which are concerned with astrology and other occult sciences, and with spiritual regeneration. The Jewish element is supplied by the Kabbalah, that is, the doctrine of a secret, mystical interpretation of the Torah, which had been familiar to scholars in Europe since the Middle Ages, and which was linked with the Hermetic texts during the Renaissance. The resulting Hermetic Kabbalistic tradition, known as Hermetism, incorporated both theory and magical practice, with the latter presented as natural, and thus good, magic, in contrast to the evil magic of sorcery or witchcraft. Alchemy was also absorbed into the body of Hermetism, and this link was strengthened in the early 17th century with the appearance of Rosicrucianism, an alleged secret brotherhood that utilized alchemical symbolism and taught secret wisdom to its followers, creating a spiritual alchemy that survived the rise of empirical science and enabled Hermetism to pass unscathed into the period of the Enlightenment. During the 18th century, the tradition was taken up by esoterically inclined Freemasons who could not find an occult philosophy within Freemasonry. These enthusiasts persisted, both as individual students of Hermetism and in continental Europe, as groups of occult practitioners, into the 19th century, when the growth of religious skepticism led to an increased rejection of orthodox religion by the educated and a consequent search for salvation by other means, including occultism. But those interested turned to new forms of occultism rather than to the Hermetic tradition. On the one hand to spiritualism, that is, the practice of alleged regular communication between the living and the spirits of the dead through a living medium, and on the other, to theosophy, a blend of Western occultism and Eastern mysticism that proved to be a most effective propagator of occultism, but whose influence has declined markedly over the last 50 years. Aleister Crowley inspired and spread occult teachings, believing he was the most powerful person in the world, a reincarnated magician. He devoted his life to studying the dark arts of black magic and the occult, and after traveling the world to study Eastern religions and pagan rituals, wrote the Book of the Law, which is still used by occultists today. Occultism has influenced many areas of the world, especially Western nations. It is slowly beginning to seep into everyday activities, talk, and even religious rituals and worship. It holds close ties with paganism and animism, frequently blurring the lines between these three religions. Indeed, despite the 19th century revival, occult ideas have failed to gain acceptance in academic circles, although they have occasionally influenced the work of major artists, such as the poet William Butler Yeats and the painter Wassily Kandinsky, and occultism in Europe and North America seems destined to remain the province of popular culture. Occultism connotations. It is important to note that in the Western world, the term occult usually evokes evil connotations associated with witchcraft and sorcery, summoning the dead, and ritual sacrifice. In some Eastern cultures, however, religion and occultism are frequently blended into a morally neutral form. Western occult beliefs pertain to secret philosophies, such as Hellenistic magic and alchemy, combined with Jewish mysticism. Occult practitioners are supposedly gifted with powers and knowledge available to specially chosen individuals or people of great intellect. Occultists or spiritualists, as they are sometimes known, seek secret wisdom, such as the key to eternal life. In fact, as already mentioned, the word occult means hidden. Occult and hidden knowledge. In occultism, there are three ways to interpret this idea of hidden knowledge. First, knowledge available only to initiates after proper preparation. It must be noted that this sort of knowledge is dangerous to the unprepared. Hence, this secret knowledge cannot be made widely available lest one risk profaning it. Second, knowledge disguised by God for only the select few to comprehend. For the adherents of occultism, there is an idea that God left clues, which only intellectuals chosen by God can interpret. And third, knowledge reveals realms, energies, or abilities, which most people do not see or recognize. This interpretation relates to magic and anything supernatural or paranormal. Many practitioners of occult arts blend multiple paths, rather than committing to a single set of rules. For example, magic is not always incorporated. Also, many occultists commune with the dead, but not all. Lastly, what do occultists really practice? The many individual sects of occultism practice spirituality in their own way. They include Freemasons, witches, psychics, mediums, Satanists, necromancers, and those practicing voodoo. Though all hold to the beliefs of their particular sect, or of their own personal opinions, most occultists feel that their practices and beliefs should remain hidden, and that outsiders should not know of their way of life. They live normal lives among society, but once in the safety of their homes, lodges, or covens, they open up to those who accept their spirituality. Many followers of occultism believe in communication with spirits, especially to obtain power and wealth. While some limit their spirit contact to people who have already passed on, others consort with demons. Occultism is also linked together with paganism and animism by enslaving its followers in fear and uncertainty. Occultists search for ways to appease spirits or gain power in an attempt to protect themselves from the spirit world. Both paganism and the occultism are modern, westernized versions of ancient animism.